Welcome, Patreon subscribers, to video podcast number 66. I'm debating this. Well, I'm going to let you know ahead of that. There's at least a 50% chance this might be my last video until the Monday after Thanksgiving. This might be, I might do one more video between tomorrow and Sunday, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I might do another video, but I'm not going to guarantee it. But so, yeah, there's at least a 50% chance this might be my last video upload until the Monday after Thanksgiving. Because starting with next Monday through that following Sunday, I'm not doing any videos because I'm just going to be too busy with other stuff. This video is, wait, let me get this out the way. My water. Yeah, I drink a lot of water, man. Your boy Alan Roger Currie is suffering over here, man. You know me, I got multiple ailments, mainly most of them related to the fact that I got type 2 diabetes I'm trying to reverse. But, man, my left thumb is like numb. It's like totally numb, man. Talked to my doctor. It's caused by what's known as diabetic nerve damage. So hopefully that'll improve. But yeah, man, my left thumb, man, it's almost like when I touch it, it's like, you know how like if you sleep on your hand, it has that feeling like you fell asleep. I mean, like it's just stings and it's like numb. Yeah, man, my left thumb is like just numb, man. If it ain't my foot, it's my thumb. If it ain't my thumb, what the fuck, man? I'm getting old and falling apart. I don't know. As long as my dick still works, which it does. I hope I don't have any problems with that. Fingers crossed. Okay. This video, I'm going to mainly cover some things based on some feedback I've gotten. I'm going to start out by talking about feedback to video podcast number 64 and 65. 64 was about the Louis C.K. and, the Hollywood sexual accusations and allegations of sexual misconduct, particularly by the comedian Louis C.K. And then I followed that up with video podcast number 65, where I said that women, you're not going to be able to seduce a woman if she doesn't find you to some degree physically attractive and or sexually appealing. Here's the thing I want to emphasize to start off is that, and you probably heard this in video podcast number 65, and I did a video podcast a while back called "I'm Not a Miracle Worker" or a Matchmaker. Some of you guys, not all, not most, not even half, just some, I'll probably say a small percentage of guys. I don't even know if I want to say a small percentage of my Patreon subscribers, because I don't know if I've ever specifically received this feedback from you guys, my Patreon subscribers. So it's rare I get stupid feedback from my Patreon subscribers. So I love you guys, man. You guys are my boys, man. I mean, even when you disagree with me, if you're a Patreon subscriber, it's usually a very intelligent and objective-minded disagreement. And I respect that. I respect. If somebody's going to disagree with me, I like for people to disagree with me in a manner that's a combination of intelligent and objective minded, as opposed to just some off base criticism. But anyway, I had a few guys say, well, Alan, if you can't help a man improve the quality of his sexual companions and or increase the quantity of his sexual companions, like, what's the point of you being a dating coach? And as already mentioned, I believe in video podcast number 65, but it's worth repeating. Mo 1 was never designed to help men turn a rejecter into a reciprocator. That has never, ever been the point of Mo 1. Since the first time I wrote Mo 1, that has never been the purpose of Mo 1, is to help men attract a woman, create romantic or sexual chemistry in a woman that's just flat out 100% not interested in you, not attracted to you. That's never been the objective of Mo 1. I used this analogy before, and I'm going to use it again. You know me, I like to use these women in a room analogies and metaphors. Let's say there were 10 women in a room. 10 women in a room. And it was predetermined, because of interviews with these women, it was predetermined that 3 of these women were definitely interested in having sex with you. 3 of these women were definitely interested in having sex with you. I would say 1 woman was definitely interested in long-term monogamous sex with you. Another woman was definitely interested in long-term non-monogamous sex with you. And another woman was interested in short-term monogamous sex with you. Okay? You got that? So out of these 10 women in a room, there's 1 woman who's definitely interested in long-term monogamous sex with you. Another woman who's definitely interested in long-term non-monogamous sex with you. And another woman is definitely interested in short-term monogamous sex with you. Then there's a 4th woman who's right on the fence as far as short-term non-monogamous sex. Short-term non-monogamous sex. So, like, you could say 50% of her is not interested in engaging in short-term non-monogamous sex with you, but another 50% of her is potentially interested in engaging. So, in other words, you would have to truly use your skills of persuasion and seduction. Persuasion and seduction to get her to engage in short-term non-monogamous sex with you. Okay? So that's 4 women. That's 4 women. 3 women that are definitely interested in some type of sex with you, and 1 woman that's at least 50% interested. You got that? You got that? Okay. Now let's say in that same room there's 6 women who are not interested in you. Not interested in having sex with you at all. Like literally a 0% chance that they would have sex with you. Okay? Got that? Now, out of these 6 women who are not interested in you, that are not interested in you, 2 of those 6 women are willing to tell you that straightforwardly. Like if you were to ask them, they would tell you straightforwardly, I have no interest in having sex with you. None whatsoever. But the other 4 women, even though they're not interested in you, they're reluctant to tell you that straightforwardly because they want your platonic companionship. They want you to spend time with them in a non-sexual, non-physical, purely platonic manner. So in other words, more than likely, they're going to play some games with you. At bare minimum, they want you to engage in lengthy conversation with them. So you got that? So to recap, I'm going to put you in a room with 10 women. 3 women are definitely interested in having sex with you in some context. 1 woman is potentially interested in having sex with you. 6 women are not interested in having sex with you. And out of those 6 women who are not, 4 of those 6 women are not willing to tell you that straightforwardly. Okay, you get it? Get it, got it, get it. Here's the deal. Now, going back to that feedback about Alan, you know, I thought Mode 1 was about helping me attract women who may not initially be attracted to me. Thinking about those 10 women in that room, Mode 1 is not about going into that room and trying to get one of those 6 women who's not interested in you to become interested in you. That's not what Mode 1 is about. And again, I think probably 99% of my Patreon subscribers get that. So really, with most of you guys, I'm preaching to the choir. This really should be directed at some of my non-Patreon subscribers, because those are the ones who sent me this type of feedback. But just for future reference, Mode 1 is not about going into that room with those 10 women and trying to get one of those 6 women who's not interested in having sex with you to become interested in having sex with you. That's not what Mode 1 is about. And I hope all of my Patreon subscribers understand that principle. That is not why I wrote Mode 1. That's never been the intention or objective of Mode 1, and it never will be. That is not what Mode 1 is about. And some guys, because either they haven't read the book at all, or they read it, only browsed through it, they didn't read it thoroughly, for some reason don't understand that. But Mode 1 is not about trying to get one of those 6 women who's not interested in you to become interested in you. The purpose of Mode 1, I'll start with the 6 women who are not interested in you. Here's the purpose of Mode 1. Is, remember I said out of those 6 women who are not interested in you, there's going to be 4 women that are going to be reluctant to tell you that straightforwardly? That's what I call in my books a manipulative time waster. That's a manipulative time waster. That's a manipulative time waster. The 2 women who are not interested in you and are willing to tell you that straightforwardly, those would be what I call simply a rejecter. That's a rejecter. So yeah, those would be women who are rejectors. Which is easy to identify, because once you lay out your interest to them, they're going to let you know that they're just simply not interested. And you just leave them alone and you move on to the next woman. So yeah, those 2 women who are not interested in you, that have no problem telling you that straightforwardly, those are rejectors. The 4 women who are not interested in having sex with you, but they want you to invest some degree of time spending time with them in a non-physical, non-sexual manner, those are your manipulative time wasters. And part of the objective of Mode 1 is so you can identify those manipulative time wasters sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. You don't want to waste time with manipulative time wasters, man. That's all they're going to end up doing, man. They're going to use what I refer to as the possibility of sex, which of course is one of the titles of my book. They're going to use the possibility of sex as a carrot on the stick to motivate you to waste time with them. You don't want to waste time with a manipulative time waster. You just don't. I'm telling you, it's going to always end with you feeling just frustrated in the long run. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel angry. Now, I'm telling you, man, when it comes to dealing with women in my past, I can honestly say, and I've said this before, I've never really had any anger, frustration, bitterness, or resentment toward a woman who was a rejecter. I can't speak for other guys, but speaking for myself, there's never been a time when I was like, had some degree of bitterness or resentment towards women simply because they rejected me. But if I dealt with a time waster, and I certainly have, more so in my younger years than in recent years, But man, anytime I've dealt with a time waster, man, it left me feeling just, I just was pissed. I hated dealing with time wasters, man. Hate dealing with time wasters. But I had to realize it was mainly my fault. So that's another reason why I didn't have too much bitterness towards the woman, because the only time you're really going to deal with time wasters is if you're engaging in conversations with them that are too vague, ambiguous, and verbally indirect instead of verbally direct. You don't want to ever be vague and ambiguous and verbally indirect with women. That's when you open the door for time wasters, man. And I'm telling you, man, on average, a time waster will leave you feeling much more bitter and agitated and resentful than just a genuine rejecter will. Like rejectors, they're going to reject you by the end of your first conversation with them. And that's how I like it. If I want to be rejected, I want to be rejected by the end of my first conversation with a woman. I don't want to be rejected after talking to women for hours, days, weeks, or months. I don't want that. I want to be rejected roughly 5, 10, 15 minutes into my first conversation with a woman. So that's one of the top 2 objectives of Mo 1, is to help you identify the manipulative time waster types that you run across. You get that? I think probably 99% of my Patreon subscribers get that. It's those other guys. I'll call them the other guys that don't get that. My haters, my critics. Now, with the 4 women who are interested in you, the main purpose of Mo 1, you notice how each of the women who I said were interested in you, they were interested in having sex with you, but in a different context. One was interested in long-term monogamous sex only. One was interested in long-term non-monogamous sex. One was interested in short-term monogamous sex. And the other one, more than likely, was willing to indulge in short-term non-monogamous sex. See, that's the other main purpose of Mo 1, is to not only help you identify which women want to have sex with you, but in what context. In what context. Because see, that's the thing about women, man. With women, it's not just simply an issue of are they interested in having sex with you or not interested in having sex with you. But with the vast majority of women, it's more specifically about in what context are they willing to have sex with you. Like, for example, there's some women that might be willing to have sex with you in the context of a long-term monogamous relationship, but not in the context of a short-term monogamous relationship. Or there's some women that might be willing to have sex with you in the context of a long-term non-monogamous relationship, but not in the context of a short-term non-monogamous relationship. See what I'm saying? So it's not just, part of Mo 1 is not just about finding out if a woman is indeed interested in exchanging orgasms with you, but in what context? In what context? And see, some women, and this is where the concept of the archetype known as the wholesome pretenders and erotic hypocrites come into play. There's some women who will try to give you the misleading impression that they only indulge in long-term sex when they're really down for short-term sex. Or there's some women that will give you the misleading impression that they only indulge in monogamous, strictly monogamous sex when they're really deep down for non-monogamous sex. Those women are called erotic hypocrites and wholesome pretenders. And that's what Mo 1 is designed to do, is to help you identify the women who are trying to mislead you and bullshit you into believing that they say only want to engage in long-term monogamous sex when in reality they're down for short-term non-monogamous sex. So that's the main objective of Mo 1 in a nutshell, using that as an analogy. That's the main 2 objectives of Mo 1, is to help you identify which of those 4 archetypes you're dealing with. Are you dealing with a reciprocator? Are you dealing with a a rejecter? Are you dealing with an erotic hypocrite / wholesome pretender? Or are you dealing with a manipulative time waster? That's the first thing you got to find out when you talk to women, man. You got to be able to identify which of those 4 archetypes that you're talking to. If you don't know which of those 4 archetypes you're talking to, man, your conversation is going to be unproductive. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to be unproductive. It's going to generally be a waste of time. It's going to be unproductive. That has to be your first objective when you talk to a woman, is to talk to her in a way that allows you to identify if she's a reciprocator, a rejecter, a wholesome pretender / erotic hypocrite, or a manipulative time waster. Get it? Got it? Good. If you need further clarification on that, I'm always available for email consultations, Skype consultations, Skype and telephone consultations. I only do telephone consultations with guys who live in the United States. If you live outside of the United States, I only do Skype consultations. In the United States, I do Skype and telephone consultations. So yeah, if you want me to break stuff down more on an individual one-on-one level, then yeah, either purchase, I have the link in my description section for my email consultations and my Skype and telephone consultations. And of course, I also do one-on-one face-to-face coaching. Matter of fact, speaking of one-on-one face-to-face coaching, this is usually my busiest time of the year. Yep. If there's 2 periods of the year that I'm most busy with one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions. And that's usually between December and February. I don't know why. I always get inundated with requests for. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be in Las Vegas doing, I want to say, at least 1 and possibly 2 one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions. So yeah, if you live in the Las Vegas area, or you plan on being in Las Vegas, I'm gonna be in Las Vegas between on December 27th, 28th, and 29th. December 27th, 28th, and 29th, I'm gonna be in Las Vegas, and I already have one one-on-one face-to-face coaching session booked during that 3-day period, and I think I'm on the verge of having a second one booked. But yeah, that's what I do. If there's 2 periods of the year I do my most one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions, is usually that period right after Thanksgiving until about Valentine's Day. Right after Thanksgiving until about Valentine's Day. That's a busy time of the year for me as far as one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions. The other time is the summer months. Is, I would say, that period between May and August. May and August, I do a lot of one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions. So yeah, between roughly Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day, I do a lot. And then between May and August, I do a lot of one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions. So the next subject I want to talk about is, here's another thing some people misunderstand about Mo One. And again, I don't know so much if this is a significant number of my Patreon subscribers, because you guys tend to be on top of stuff. Most of my Patreon subscribers are people who number one, it's usually people who thoroughly read my books. And let me repeat that. Thoroughly. Didn't just browse through them. Thoroughly read my books, or if you got my audiobooks, you thoroughly listen to my audiobooks. That's always a good starting point. That prevents you from asking me dumb questions or misunderstanding stuff I say. So, that's why I have a lot of love and respect for you Patreon subscribers, man, because, see, anytime you hear me doing a lot of my rants and admonishments and responses and rebuttals on my free videos, that's pretty much directed at people who are non-Patreon subscribers. That's directed at people who are non-Patreon subscribers. What I call my haters and harsh critics. Because most of those guys who give me all that negative feedback are guys who either don't own any of my books at all, or they own one or more of my books, but they didn't really take time to read it thoroughly or listen to the audiobook thoroughly. So they always end up having these misinterpretations. But here's one misinterpretation I want to address. Is I've heard some guys say, Alan, here's the thing I don't like about Mode 1, man. I mean, a part of me likes your idea of being, verbally direct and straightforwardly honest with women about your sexual desires, interests, and intentions. But I feel like when you're direct, it makes you come across as more thirsty, as more sexually desperate. And a lot of other PUAs say you should never be direct for that very reason, because you don't want to come across like you're like thirsty or desperate. I want you to go to your thesaurus, your online thesaurus, or online dictionary, one of the two. And usually they list words that are synonyms. I'm sure most of you by now, if you graduated from high school, know what a synonym is. A synonym is simply a word or term that's similar to the one you use. Most words in the dictionary, usually on the online dictionary, they have synonyms that are similar in meaning to the word you might be wanting to use. Then, of course, there's antonyms, meaning a word that has just the opposite meaning. If you put in the word straightforward, ain't no synonym gonna come up along the lines of over anxious, impatient, or desperate. Those words are not going to come up as synonyms to the term straightforward. If you go to either the online dictionary or online thesaurus and put in straightforward, ain't nothing in your online dictionary or thesaurus going to come up as a synonym. Impatient, over anxious. Matter of fact, since I'm talking about it, I'm going to go to my online. I'm going to see. First, I'm going to go to the online dictionary, and then I'm going to go to online thesaurus. Okay, I'm going to the online dictionary right now. And I'm going to put in the term straightforward. Okay? And we're going to see what synonyms come up. Adjective. Straightforward is an adjective, meaning direct, not roundabout. See, I always say that. You want to be verbally direct. You don't want to be beat around the bush or verbally roundabout. Direct. Free from crookedness or deceit. Honest. Now, it has a thing, synonyms for me to click on. I'm going to click on synonyms. Undeviating, unswerving. The antonym for it would be devious. So see, now I'm going to go to thesaurus.com. That was dictionary.com. Now I'm going to go to thesaurus.com and I'm going to put in straightforward and see what comes up. And I can guarantee you there's no synonym for straightforward that's similar to impatient, over anxious, or desperate. Okay. Now I'm on thesaurus.com. Here are some of the synonyms for straightforward. Upfront. You know my book is called Upfront and Straightforward. Upfront. candid, forthright, genuine, sincere, truthful, unequivocal, above board, direct, frank, laid on the line, outspoken. And they get a few other ones. So as you can see, there's no synonym of straightforward that's related to being over anxious, impatient, and or desperate. Now, speaking of that, I'm going to put in desperate and see what desperate. Okay, there's quite a few here for synonyms for desperate. Frantic, frenzied, daring, dangerous, violent. Now, audacious, that's an interesting synonym because I actually use that in a positive way. Audacious. And bold, too. Bold is a synonym for desperate. And I actually use the term bold in a good way. So that's interesting. Let me put in one more word. I'm going to put in impatient. Impatient. Anxious, eager, irritable, restless, thirsty. I didn't know that was in here. Ain't that so? See, it's in here. A synonym for impatient is thirsty. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? That's one of the top synonyms of impatient. Thirsty. Wow. Ain't that something, man? Ain't that something? Yeah, I just put in thirsty. Here's the synonyms for thirsty. Impatient, greedy, eager, anxious, cottonmouth, lusting, dying for, crazy for. So, see, there you go, man. So yeah, man, I've had not too many guys, but over the last 10 years, I've had guys, particularly guys who follow conventional PUAs. A lot of them will say, well, I was talking to this one PUA and he criticized Mode 1 because he says Mode 1 makes you comes across as looking like real, like sexually desperate, you know, like you can't wait to get in a woman's pants, like, you know. I'm in Mode 1 with many women. I've never had a woman characterize my behavior as over anxious or impatient or something along those lines, or desperate. Matter of fact, if you read my book, The Possibility of Sex, or listened to the audiobook, I talk about this technique I used to use with women. I don't use it anymore because I felt like it was kind of, if nothing else, it's kind of semi-manipulative. But I used to use this specific technique to avoid looking over anxious or desperate or impatient. Now, if you had a book, you already know what I'm talking about. For those Patreon subscribers who don't have, you should get. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you should have all of my books. I ain't going to obligate you to have all of my books, but you should have all of my books. Because I'm going to be most of my Patreon exclusive videos, I'm going to be referring to one or more of my books all the time. So it makes no sense for you to be a Patreon subscriber if you don't own my books. You should, at bare minimum, you should own at least 2, if not all of my books. No less than 2 of my books. You should really own all of my books. Like I got 4 audiobooks. Ideally, you should own all of my audiobooks, unless you got the ebook or paperback version of those books. But yeah. But anyway, possibility of sex. I'll talk about a technique I used to use, mainly when I lived in Los Angeles. This is what I used to do, man. I would meet certain women, and initially I would say, damn, I want to fuck you so bad. Man, I want to fuck you so bad. Woo! Man, I want to fuck you so bad. I can't wait to get my dick in your pussy. Now stop right there. What would that immediately make a woman think if I'm talking like that to her? Like, oh man, I want to fuck you so bad. Man, I want to fuck you so bad. Obviously, that would make a woman think I want to fuck her as soon as possible. ASAP. But here's what I would do to contradict it. I don't have my smartphone near me. So I'm going to pretend like this piece of paper is like a calendar. This is what I would do. After I tell the woman, man, I want to fuck you so bad, man. Then I would say, and let's say she was like, really? So you want to get in my pants that bad? I'd be like, oh, yeah. Hold up a second. Okay, December, no, that ain't going to work. Okay, January, no, that ain't going to work. Okay, February, no, that ain't going to work. Okay. In mid to late March, I'm going to fuck the shit out of you. That's what I would do. I literally would do that with women. What I would do, again, it was kind of cheesy in a way, and it was kind of manipulative, or at least semi-manipulative in a way. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you this, for those women that were interested in having sex with me, that shit used to work like a charm. That shit used to work like a charm. Because what I would make women do, here's what would usually happen for the women who were interested in me. They would end up accelerating the date instead of me. And basically when it was all said and done, they would end up looking like the ones who were anxious to go to bed instead of me. Because I would treat women, a lot of times when I would talk to women, I would treat women like I could wait like 6 months before I fucked them. What does that tell a woman when you let a woman know you can wait patiently to fuck her? What does that tell a woman? You should know. What I say is your number one form of what I call egotistical leverage. Egotistical leverage with women. What's the number one thing that gives a man egotistical leverage with women? More than just about anything else, man, you always want to leave a woman with the impression that you got at least minimum one other option for sexual companionship. One other option, if not multiple options. See, that's when women become intrigued by you, and I mentioned that in at least a handful of my previous video podcasts. Women become most intrigued with you when they think you already got some pussy you can get. See, if a woman knows for a fact that she's your number one option for pussy, or worse, your only option for pussy, then that's when a woman is going to have the upper hand over you. And she's going to play games with you. If women know that they're either your number one option or your only option, that's when women are going to play games with you. You got to always give women an impression. And, you know, I don't usually condone lying. I never really condone lying or misleading women. But I even admit this in my book, Mode 1. If there's one area where I actually condone telling women a little white lie, is when it comes to your options. I always say, like, say you're a guy who hasn't fucked a woman, I don't know, in 6 months. You don't want to ever be straightforward with women about that shit, unless you just really, really want to. Now, if you really, really want to be straightforward with women, go ahead. I ain't going to stop you. But generally speaking, you never want to be straightforward with women about that. You want to always give a woman the impression that there's at least one other woman in your life that you're already fucking. You always want to give a woman the impression that there's at least one other woman in your life that you're already fucking. that takes away her egotistical leverage, man. And see, when you act like, when you get a woman the impression that you can wait for weeks or months to fuck a woman, that lets a woman know, man, that you got other options, even without you telling her that. That lets her automatically know that you must have other options. But yeah, I used to do that all the time, man. When I lived in LA, I remember I was on a temp assignment with this chick, and I did that with her. I said, man, I want to fuck the shit out of you. I want to fuck you. She was like, wow, I've never had a man just tell me like that. You just come straight out with it. I said, oh, man, I want to fuck the shit out of you. She said, just like that. I said, just like that. There, all of a sudden, I just started looking at my computer calendar. I was like, oh, okay. I think it was, let's say it was the month of May. I think it was in May. So I was like, okay, no. June, no, that won't work. July, no, that won't work. August, August might work. I don't know. Okay, September. Okay, yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of you sometime in the month of September. She was like, what? What are you talking about? You're telling me you would have to wait until September to fuck me. I said, yeah, all right. She's like, your schedule's that busy, that filled up with other women. I said, well, you know. She's like, so you telling me you absolutely can fuck me in August? I said, well, if I rearrange some things, yeah, I could probably fuck you in August. She said, well, if you can fuck me in August, you couldn't fuck me in July? You telling me you absolutely couldn't fuck me in July? And I was like, let me look at the calendar again. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could free up maybe a day or two in July. She said, so wait a minute. You telling me if you could fuck me possibly in July, you absolutely couldn't fuck me in June? I was like, June is real tight. I mean, like, real tight. She's like, so you ain't got, like, not one day in the month of June you couldn't fuck me. I said, yeah, it's probably one day. So she said, okay, so if there's at least one day in June that you can make time to fuck me, you telling me this month, the month of May, there's no days possible? I said, no, 99% chance no. She said, well, what about that 1% chance you still got open? She said, what about, like, next weekend? You absolutely positively couldn't fuck me next weekend? I said, well, I would have to cancel some shit and, move some stuff around. Okay, yeah, there's at least a 50% chance I could fuck you next weekend. She's like, wait a minute. So if you could move some stuff around next weekend, how come you couldn't move some stuff around this weekend to fuck me? If you really want to fuck me that bad, how come you can't fuck me this weekend? I said, so you want me to fuck you this weekend, huh? She's like, well, yeah. I said, say it. She was like, I want you to fuck me this weekend. I said, say it again. She said, I want you to fuck me this weekend. I said, say it again. She said, I want you to fuck me this weekend. I said, okay, I'll fuck you this weekend. I'll make some things. I'll change some things around. And I'll fuck you this weekend. Boom! See how that worked? Now again, it's a little bit on the cheesy side. It's a little bit on the somewhat manipulative side to play those type of head games. But again, man, I used to use that technique like, it used to work like a charm. Yeah, when I moved away from LA, I haven't really used that technique probably in the last, 15 years or so. Yeah, when I lived in Los Angeles, I used to use that with a lot of women, man. I would, like, even to this day though, I would never try to fuck a woman the same day I meet her. Never. I would never try to fuck a woman. And that's what surprises a lot of guys. A lot of guys think because I've had a lot of same-day seductions that means that I automatically tell women that I want to fuck them that day. I admitted this at a book. I remember one time this woman, a female friend of mine, did a Mo 1 book signing for me. This was way back in 2007. And one interesting part of the book signing, it was nothing but women there, number one. It was nothing but women except for one guy who was married. He was there with his wife and they ended up leaving early. But it was nothing but women at this particular book signing. And here's what was funny. At one point, some of the women started asking me about some of my same-day seductions. And I said, I told this story, I think, on Blog Talk Radio before. But anyway, I'm going to tell it again. So a couple of the women were asking me about some of my same-day seductions. And I said, well, the most interesting thing about some of my same-day seductions is that most of them, it wasn't my intention to have sex with that woman that day. And the women were like, really? I said, no. No, I actually was looking to have sex with them maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. They chose to have sex that same day. And there was this one woman, she was kind of quiet most of the end. She just was looking at me. She's just looking at me. And then right when I said that, she said, I never get this, this is funny. She said, this motherfucker. She was a black woman. All of them were black. But she was like, this motherfucker. This motherfucker. And then all the other women were like, what? She's like, I know what this brother's up to. I know what this brother's up to. I know it. I know his scheme now. I know what he does. I know his secret technique now. And the other women were like, what? I can't remember her name. Let's say her name was Cheryl. They were like, Cheryl, what are you talking about? Why are you saying this? What are you saying? And then she looked at all the women. She's like, don't act like y'all don't know what game he running with women. Y'all know how we are. Key point, key phrase, she said. She said, y'all know how we are. And all the women were either genuinely naive to what she was saying, or they were doing a good job playing the naive role. And they were like, no, Cheryl, tell us, what kind of game is he running? And she started admonishing the other women in the room. She said, y'all bitches telling me that y'all don't get horny as hell when a motherfucker, here was the key phrase. She said, y'all telling me y'all don't get horny as hell when a motherfucker act like he can wait longer for your pussy than you can for his dick? Let me repeat that. She said, y'all bitches telling me that y'all don't get horny as hell when a motherfucker give you the impression that he can wait longer for your pussy than you can for his dick? And sure enough, man, all the women start looking at her like, shh, like, shut up. Don't let him know that. Shh, shut up. That's how all the women start reacting like, girl, Cheryl, shut up. That's our little secret. Don't tell him that. And I basically was like, oh, I already knew that. I was like, yeah, that ain't no secret for me. I already knew that shit. But see, her reaction just validated what I already knew, man. Patience, a combination of these two things, confidence and patience. Confidence and patience gets women horny as fuck. When you can blend the combination of confidence and patience together, you will leave a lot of women intrigued and wanting to fuck you. That's why I say, man, the guys all the time, man, you can't ever give a woman, and I thought I'd turn off my phone. You can't ever give a woman the impression that you're like over anxious. You can't ever give a woman the impression that you're like over anxious, impatient, or desperate to fuck them. Because again, man, then you give them the egotistical edge, man. You give them the egotistical edge. Damn, this irritating me, this phone. Okay. Yeah, man, you want to always, the only exception I would say, here's the one exception, is when you're traveling. Now, when I'm traveling, I will let a woman know that I want to fuck her ASAP. So that's the one time, a lot of times I will let a woman know that I want to fuck her like within the next 24, 48, 72 hours, is if I'm out of town somewhere. Like, for example, I was recently in Orlando, Florida, and I fucked this young chick. She was young. She was like less than half my age. And she would be a good example of a woman. Now, there goes my cell phone. So, yeah, when I'm out of town, like if I'm traveling, yeah, that's when I don't have a problem letting a woman know, yeah, basically like I want to fuck you before I leave town. But as far as dealing with women that are like, you know, in the same city as me, same general area as me, no, man, you never want to give a woman the impression that you're over anxious to fuck her. So all this to say that, man, being straightforward about the fact that you want to fuck a woman is not synonymous with coming across as impatient, over anxious, and or desperate. What most people refer to these days as thirsty. Thirsty. You never want to come across as thirsty to a woman. That's one of a woman's biggest turnoffs. I would say, along with a severe lack of confidence, nothing turns a woman off more than when you come across as thirsty, man. I try never to come across as thirsty. Here's the best way to think of it. Let me ask you this. Let's say you are already fucking 3 Victoria's Secret models. Some 3 beautiful, sexy Victoria's Secret models. Let's say there was 3 Victoria's Secret models that you could fuck pretty much anytime you want to. But you met a new woman that you were also attracted to that you wanted to fuck. How would you talk to that new woman you're meeting knowing that you got 3 Victoria's Secret models that you can fuck anytime you want to? I can almost guarantee you your behavior would never come across as impatient or over anxious or desperate or thirsty. You would have attitude like, yeah, I want to fuck you. Your underlying attitude would basically be, yeah, I want to fuck you, but if I can't fuck you, so I got 3 fine ass Victoria's Secret models I'm already fucking. So if I can't fuck you, so ain't no big deal. But see, on the other hand, if you ain't had no pussy in like a year and a half and you meet a new, attractive, sexy woman, that's when you're going to be inclined to come across as impatient, over anxious, or desperate, because you're going to feel like, well, damn, I ain't had no pussy in 18 months. I need some pussy right now. I got to get some pussy right now. I got to get some pussy right now. Damn, you got to be the one to give me some pussy. You got to be the one. See, you don't ever want to come across like that. So, marinate on everything I said. If you want more further consultation on this subject, again, I'm always available for email consultation, Skype and telephone consultation. And if you want the full level coaching, I do one-on-one, face-to-face coaching sessions. Again, I'm going to be in Las Vegas, December 27th, 28th, and 29th. So keep me posted if you want to do it. I already got one booked, and I might be having a second one booked in Vegas. All right. If I don't come back with another video between Friday and Sunday, have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I'll talk to you guys probably that Monday after Thanksgiving. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.